The season has been such a gift, and I have been spending a lot of time making handmade things, baking a lot of bread, staring out at some beautiful cotton candy clouds, and just really enjoying slowing down a bit for the holidays. Today I am making some multi-grain bread. I'm going to do both a sandwich version and an artisan loaf, and I have come to just really love the slow process of creating homemade bread. Most of my bread recipes are sourdough recipes, and I will link them for you in the description, but I also really love a yeast bread, especially if it's a sweet bread. So today I am tackling some bread making. I'm also going to share some antique finds, and I am going to start in with holiday hosting tips, as well as pulling together my dining room really for the first time since we have finished the construction on our house. When the construction completed, we moved our furniture in, and that's about all I did. And it was very much the landing zone for all Christmas decor, as I have decorated the entire rest of the house, which I've already shared with you and you can check out in my Christmas decorating playlist. But today we're going to spend some time really keying in on this room. Now, after I finished decorating the living room, I decided that I wanted to do a really long garland over this entryway. So I'm going to pop some command hooks up that are 15-pound weight to hold that garland, since it's a pretty significant span. Now, a few videos ago, I shared with you this vintage crazy quilt that I got at an antique store in my living room decorating video, and I still am just absolutely stunned that I bought this for $25. It has so much beautiful detail and craftsmanship in it, and it really helped me decide on the color palette that I would use for the entire house this Christmas. It has a lot of rich jewel tones in it, and so my color palette for the year is going to be greens, because I just use a lot of greenery, a burgundy red, a cinnamon color, and then deep browns and golds. Now, this Norfolk pine garland is absolutely stunning, but it has some weight to it, being a 15-foot length. So I'm using a variety of command hooks and these types of hooks to make sure that it's secure over this doorway, especially because I'm layering 2 of them. Then I'm also going to be using smaller command hooks to place on the wall for my embellishments, like these gold bells and the ribbon. I don't really want to put any more weight on the big command hooks because they're already holding a lot, so I just strategically place a couple more in there to hold the smaller items. Now, normally I don't really go all out over doorways like this, but I just am really in the Christmas decorating mood because I didn't get to do it last year, so I feel like I'm adding a lot more embellishments than I normally would. I love these starburst little ornaments, I guess that they were originally. So I placed a few draping across the doorway, and then I'm putting some battery operating twinkle lights on the garland as well, and adding a bit of glow with these gold stems. Now, one thing that I have had on my checklist since we completed all of our construction in October is to add smoke and carbon monoxide detectors throughout the new areas of our house. With all of the holiday baking I'm doing, it really pushed me to check this off the list. About 10 years ago, we had a house fire, and that displaced us from our home for 6 months. So ensuring that we have these important safety tools in place has always been top of mind for me. I'm so grateful to Ciderwell for sponsoring today's video as I highlight their wireless interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Now, they offer wired and wireless models, and I love that even though the model that I purchased are wireless, it offers an interconnected option. So if there's smoke in one room, then it notifies all of the alarms throughout the house, up to 18 alarms. This interconnected feature is really important to me after living through a house fire, because at that time our smoke alarms did not notify us properly of the fire. The Ciderwell wireless model has a 10-year built-in lithium battery and energy-efficient technology, so it's maintenance-free for a decade, which I really love. One pet peeve I've always had in the past is that smoke alarms tend to go off with really simple things like steam from cooking, but the cider well smoke and carbon monoxide alarms have a 99.9% alarm accuracy, so you have less cooking disturbances from simple things like boiling water. And if there is a false alarm or a low battery warning, then it's one click to silence the alarm with the mute button. With a low battery warning, you're able to mute it for a full 10 hours. However, if it's a false alarm, the key will mute for 5 to 8 minutes so that you get that silence that you need, but it doesn't affect the smoke alarm to continue to detect if there's an actual problem. Take it from somebody who knows this is so important. Make sure and check out the cider well, both wireless option and wired option. I will link them for you in the description. I decided that I did not have enough plates without chips in them for the holiday hosting I'm going to be doing. Almost all my plates have chips in them, so I treated myself to a new set, and it's really, really pretty. I thought that this color green would look nice for Christmas. It would look nice in the springtime. All summer long, obviously for the fall. Like, it's literally the perfect color green. It's not too dark, it's not too foresty, it's not too sagey. It's a really nice set. It's gonna look super pretty on the table. Now, I ordered this beautiful velvet burgundy bedspread for our bedroom, and when it came in, I was just staring at it, thinking to myself, this would make a really pretty tablecloth. And so I started playing with the sizing to see if it would even work. And guess what? I think I'm gonna make it work. But I got distracted because these curtains are so long, and they have been too long for a full year. Our last house had taller ceilings, and so I decided that it was finally time to hem them. I'm not a sewer. I wish that I was. So I'm just going to use the existing seam and cut off the bottom portion, and then use some heat tape to do kind of the cheater's way of hemming curtains. This iron-on version is very easy, and if you don't have sewing skills like I don't have sewing skills, then you'll find it to be very helpful in many different situations. It was a very simple process, and I cannot believe how much better they look without that huge puddle on the ground. This is something that I've been putting off for a year, and it really only took me about 30 minutes total to do all 4 curtains. Now, this left me with all of this linen scrap from the bottom hems. There's about 2 inches, probably, maybe 3 on some of them, that I was a little bit more sparse on when I tried to hem it. What could I do with these? Let's see how I might incorporate those into the tablescape. It looks so much better. This one still, I think it's actually sunk. I think what I need to do up top is shore up that seam. There's a seam right there. I think that is why it's a little bit longer than the rest. So I think I just need to tighten that seam up so that the bar doesn't bend, and then we should be good to go. It looks so much more polished without a big puddle on the floor. Now, I wanted to decorate our sideboard with a few little embellishments, so I grabbed this vintage wood box. I layered a garland in it and wound that around quite a few times because it was quite a large garland, and then just piled it with some pretty ornaments that are the color scheme that I wanted. And then this swag that I had on the hood I thought would actually look really pretty over here, so I took it out of the kitchen and I moved it over to this space, and I am just starting to create a little moment. Chances are you don't need to buy a tablecloth for your Christmas table. It's so pretty. The trick is going to be how to fold it so that the proportions are correct for a table. It's clean, just so we're all aware. It's clean. Like thirds going to do it. Not tall enough. This is gonna take some, I have an idea. We're flipping her around. Okay. wait for it. This is gonna work. It's gonna work. I give you a tablecloth and a runner in one. Be straight. Be straight. Should probably cut the tags off. Under penalty of law, this tag not to be removed. Do they have bedding police? Is this what we're doing now? What are the care instructions? Machine wash, cold, tumble dry. That's what I do for literally everything. Good to go. Folding this into thirds revealed the underside to make it like its own runner in one. Now, when your guests say to you, "Is this a bedspread that I'm dining on?" you're gonna say, "Heck yes it is. Aren't you impressed with my frugality and my creativity to not have to buy a tablecloth or a runner? When I'm done, I'm gonna make my bed." So I was gonna use my old white plates as a base, kind of like a charger, but turns out they're the same size as these new green ones that I got. I really wanted something light to go between the dark burgundy and a darker green. It's not super dark, but it's dark enough that I feel like it needs something bright underneath to separate the two, to create some contrast. My plan is spoiled. So now I gotta rummage and figure out what I might already own to make this work. Kitty! You're standing at the door saying, "Let me in." You're such a good boy. I rummaged through my linens and I found this beautiful white creamy linen tablecloth, and I thought that that would work. It's too small for my table, so I rarely use it, so I just turned it on its side so that it was more of a diamond shape and steamed out those wrinkles, and it's the perfect contrast. Okay, that's so much better. I just really needed some contrast. It's just feeling heavy, and I didn't want it to feel heavy. I want it to feel like pretty. Now let's start building this centerpiece. When it is a hosting opportunity and I am having people at the table, I really like to use a tray to create my centerpiece because I can have it be out, be beautiful, be something that people can admire before the meal. And then when it's time to actually add the food, I can literally pick up the entire centerpiece on the tray and move it over and not have to dismantle anything in order to make room for our food. For the same reason, I like using battery-operated pillar candles because there's no flame or drippy wax that I have to deal with if I need to move it. Then, remember those scraps from the curtains? I decided that I would wrap the bare stems of some of these picks that I used on the centerpiece to cover up the brown portion, and that worked out really well. A really great way to just reuse something that would have otherwise been tossed. For this centerpiece, I really wanted to keep it pretty neutral and greenery based, so I just used a few stems and then draped a couple of long bells, added a cute little reindeer, and called it good for this centerpiece. I added a little bit of ribbon to the sky and I wanted it to look like a scarf instead of a bow. Isn't it cute? I really love how the burgundy base and then the creamy neutral pops the green plates. I grabbed some linen napkins, played with a couple different variations of really simple folding techniques, and layered that in for some more contrast once again on top of the plates, and it's like a perfect little green sandwich. While I was setting the table, my sandwich bread finished up, and then I also did make an artisan loaf, and I have both of these recipes for you on the blog if you like doing sourdough. It's a really nice multi-grain option. On the other side of the dining room, I have this cabinet that I still have not positioned the way that I want, but I decided to put a couple of wreaths on there, and then watching the video back, all I could see was a little face, a little nose with two eyes, and it made me laugh and smile, so I kept it anyways. The wreaths are still there. I grabbed a bottle of sparkling grape juice in the color of my tablecloth because it would be pretty. Don't judge me. I think that it's gorgeous, and the red in the cups sets off the red of the tablecloth, and I have no regrets. Now sit back and let's take a look at the completed space. I hope that you enjoy. Now, if you remember, I scored this super cute ceramic bell for $4 at the antique store. I used that to add to the swag that I already had. The cinnamon color matched the bow perfectly, and it brought that part of my color scheme into the side of the room. And then I just continued adding this red ribbon to several different areas of the house to bring that color palette from the living room and the kitchen into the dining space. The golds and browns of these ornaments really bring in that glow that I'm looking for. And I also, if you remember, scored a really cute ceramic Christmas tree from the antique store, and I put that into the centerpiece. So I love that it's a mix of new, existing decor I already owned and vintage pieces. Now, I would love to know, what is your color scheme that you're doing this year? Drop it in the comments, and tell me also, what is your favorite Christmas or holiday tradition? Because I would love to hear a list of different things that different families do and chat about that in an upcoming video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you next week.